Should be good to go here. Oh, I hear myself.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Such an absolute mess. Every time Tyler's here, absolute mess. The guy is just, he's risked life and limb for this show, and I can't appreciate it enough. So thank you, Tyler. Welcome, everybody. Leave it at the table. Beautiful Wednesday night. Sat outside and did the agenda before the show tonight. And I'm like, man, it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful night. And then the no-see-ums came out. It's like, yep, time to go in.
I'm glad someone had a nice evening.
Yeah, well, welcome to the show, Drew. If you can't tell, Drew's still panting from just walking in about 30 seconds ago, but you made it.
Yeah, and I've got dinner in a bag, so don't mind me. It's gas station special, the blue collar man. It's a Lunchable, some cookie dough, and a Dr. Pepper.
There you go.
Hell yeah, that's the American dream. They can tell you it's anything else, but that's the American dream. Hey guys, if you're watching this, go ahead and hit that share button, get it out to your friends, let them know we're live. If you got some baseball fans, let them know we're slapping trash cans tonight. We are going to open up with a more controversial topic, though. We'll get there in just a second. You've already heard the voice. You heard him scratching all over his microphone and breaking the silence barrier before we went live. Mr. Tyler Spalding, welcome back. Third time, right?
Yeah, third time, and I still don't know what I'm doing. It's still amateur night over here.
Well, at least tonight, we're not going to kill you, right?
Yeah, fair enough. Exactly.
This first time we came on, we were like stressing out, like this hurricane could turn right at us. Like, is this our last show ever? And then the next time we came on, we did God, what did we do? Like hot ones.
It was
Truth or Dab.
Truth or Dab.
We did Truth or Dab with the hot ones, and you do the hottest sauce. And he was getting like the cards where he's like lick somebody's face or eat a hot wing, and the poor guy.
If you want to whisper in Sam's ear, it's totally on you tonight.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna pass on all of that this evening.
Dude, it was like whisper into somebody's ear or eat a hot wing, and and then Drew would get whistle piano man or eat a hot wing.
Doug, every game we play is made for me.
You get alley-ooped, dude. It's something crazy. Oh, it's something crazy. By the way, that viewership number is not correct.
Well, we're the only people who see it, so it's okay.
That's fair.
We're also telling ourselves, we tell ourselves every week, don't look at that number.
Well, it's
right,
but it's kind of hard not to.
It's very hard not to. It's very hard not to.
I get it,
especially when there you go. Especially when it's inaccurate. But first time on the podcast, well, on the show, we're a show. Yeah, we're a show.
Technically, it's a show.
Technically, right? Because we're live, got cameras.
Yeah.
Mr. Sam Peebles, welcome to the group, dude. Happy to have you here.
Appreciate it. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, man. Big Braves fan. I want to give you an opportunity here because you run a very successful Atlanta Braves podcast. You also write online for is it Tomahawk? What is it? Sorry, I should have just gave you the opportunity, right? I know the name of the podcast, the Braves Dugout Podcast, and I'm like, I just remember as I'm talking, like, oh, you also do some blogging, right?
Yep. Yeah, so I started the Braves Dugout Podcast. I think we're in our 6th season, so 5 years ago. Pretty crazy. It's been that long. I've written for a lot of places. I've written for Sports Talk ATL, Fansided, SB Nation. Currently writing for Battery Power. I've done some for a little bit for ESPN, Sports Illustrated. It's been a lot of fun. I'm not like, I don't do it full time, it's contract work, but it's a lot of fun. I've learned it teaches you a lot because you have to do a lot of research, and that's what I love about it is the research that goes behind it. And I figured, I probably do more research on this stuff than anybody I know as a hobby, so I might as well share it with everybody else. And it's been really fun. I like learning together with other baseball fans.
Absolutely. And then you got to tell us about your day over there, young man, because you're like knuckle deep. I'm gonna try to keep it professional. Sam over here is like actually, I don't want to say high roller, dude, but like we have to somewhat keep it professional tonight because you're a city commissioner. Is that what it is? You're on the city commission of Lynn Haven?
Yes. I am on the board of commissioners for the city of Lynn Haven. Yes.
So this is a Kids
Don't-
show tonight,
Yeah,
folks.
don't do anything to get me canceled. I may run again.
Post Michael, by the way.
Post Michael. Yeah, let's
just-
Tyler.
We got to
Just the
clarify.
past 2 years. Yeah.
Tyler cornered him outside like, where's my money, dude? You know Margot?
Yeah. Dude, I got some stories about that. That's
What
so
a-
funny.
What a weird year. We should well, this will be what? Golly, 7 years this October since Hurricane Michael. So maybe I don't think people usually do a 7-year anniversary of anything, but we might have some fun with that this year.
The Sabbath year.
The Sabbath.
We'll take this year off.
Shout out old Kyle McAlpin watching over there on YouTube, ADHD Acres. We love you, man. Always so supportive of us. He don't know anything about baseball, but he's going to be here the whole show. I guarantee it. Shelby as well. She won't be here the whole show,
Yeah.
but she's always very supportive.
I was gonna say, how long till Shelby tunes out?
She'll be here for the Gulf World conversation, and then she'll tune out. Chef Ross, Milwaukee Brewers fan, back to the sewer they go this season, I'm predicting, but we'll get there shortly. Love you, Chef Ross. Always got love for Chef Ross. Also, hit the share button. Zach Lesnar checking in on YouTube. Go Tigers. I can't remember the last time I was excited for baseball season. Dude, the Tiger fans,
Possible Cy Young winner.
back to back would be
Hey.
insane. They
Screwball's good, dude. I'm telling you.
Scoobles.
did they do enough though? We'll get there. I'm guessing.
They're-
We don't usually spend a lot of time on the Tigers, but if somebody wants to talk about their team, we can.
I feel like they're so young.
Yeah.
Oh,
And they built so much last year. Like they as an Astros fan, they remind me of the 2017 pre trash cans.
Except like Detroit probably got there organically, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, pre trash cans, but everyone was predicting they were I think it was 2016. There was a Sports Illustrated article that came out with the on the front. It had Springer and Tuve and like two other guys and Bregman, and it said in 2020. In like 2019, these guys will be the best players in the MLB, and started talking about how they were going to be like the Astros were the team of the future. And then it came 2017. Now we know everything that happened, but still, with that amount of talent, it came a whole lot sooner than anybody anticipated. This year with the last year with the Tigers, you could see the writing on the wall of them having good pitching, good rotation, decent to good bullpen. Then with some of the players that you had, it was just a recipe for goodness at that point. And I think they're just starting that climb. There's obviously better, but with being such a young team, you can also build on that, but it can also be a detriment having that much success at such a young rate as your team as a whole.
At the Cincinnati Reds in 2023. Missed the playoffs, but everything you just said. Yeah. Did you pull up the Tigers rotation and everything right there? Sorry, I noticed you had it pulled up.
Yeah, they're projected to have the sixth best rotation in terms of ERA in Major League Baseball. So,
Good pitching will solve it all. I don't want to say it doesn't matter what you put on the field, but
makes the floor a lot higher.
Oh yeah, definitely.
absolutely. So we will obviously talk a lot more. So baseball fans, stick around. It's not going to be the end of the show. We're just going to spend a short time talking about something that's a hot button issue here in Bay County over especially the last 7 to 14 days. We kind of avoided it last week. We had a very interesting show last week, eating some weird food here. How'd you feel the next day? I felt fine. Shelby said she felt a little funky, but
I got home, I burped and tasted bacon.
bacon soda. Like it wasn't from the soda though, right?
Oh,
was
yeah.
it the soda? Oh,
But then I woke up the next day and I was fine.
I was really worried about it after everything because we had like ranch cotton candy, dill pickle cotton candy.
The mix
No,
of
thanks.
everything
Yeah.
that was where I was the most concerned. But I woke up and I felt fine the next day. I did my normal routine in the morning. Didn't have any extraordinary things. And yeah, that was about my regular day.
Wasn't like the jelly beans. I know I hate to
Oh,
keep
no.
bringing up the jelly beans, so I'm making eye contact with this bag that that Tyler brought me to be funny last
Oh.
week. It was. What are you eating right now? What?
I brought it.
Oh, that's right. You brought it to be funny last week. I keep making eye contact with him, and it's like a PTSD thing. If you guys didn't watch that one, I highly suggest. I just told somebody the other day, if you want to know like the funniest show that we've ever done, now it sucked for us. It was terrible, but it was hilarious for everybody watching. It was the Bean Boozled challenge, and there was a lot of yakking in trash cans that night. Dude.
Someone brought those to work 2 days ago, and I was the only one in the entire office. I was like, nope. Nope. And they tried to peer pressure me into it. I was like, nope, know what it is. Not doing it.
That was a very good choice because when I tell you 3 days later, like I have holes in my, like a couple of holes in my teeth from like botched root canals. And like, I brush, I floss, I take care of my teeth. But then somehow there's like a piece of this liver and onion jelly bean just sitting in there. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I get it out and I'm like, ah, dude, it's absolutely dreadful.
Yeah, his worst one that he still talks about is liver and onion. I tasted wet dog.
He did eat wet dog. It was a rough night. But if you want to watch,
night.
just rough.
It was a rough next day for me.
If you want to watch just like the funniest hour and a half.
That one and then next our very first episode, Hot Ones.
Yeah, what you were gonna
those were some of the most fun / terrifying / entertaining episodes I think we've put out.
I have to agree. We need to get Danielle back in here soon. We're gonna do a 1 year special. We have to figure out we got our 1 year already coming up in June. We've already been. You just absolutely going in on that Lunchable.
You could hear it through the headphones.
Yeah, dude. Well, you know how loud it has to be.
That was me breathing into the mic, like some Xbox Live stuff.
Yeah,
I would be like, dude, mute
turn your
mic.
fan off,
mute your mic. You know what I mean? It is brutal,
dude. When you're eating away from the mic and you can hear it. That's brutal.
Oh my God, I'm hungry. Here we go again.
All right, fellas. So back to it. We'll get down to business and we'll have some fun talking baseball for a little bit. Gulf World has been a huge conversation piece over Bay County. I think most people kind of sit on the side of thank you for that, by the way.
Yes.
It was already happening. We got two fat boys in here and
yeah.
I just want to, if you guys feel comfortable talking about it, I'd like to know where you stand on the conversation. And I asked you before we did this tonight because I obviously you're in Lynn Haven, not Panama City Beach, but this is a hot button issue and it continues to spread through the government, and like we've got state politicians getting involved now.
Real quick, can you give me a breakdown of what exactly is going on? Because I'm not 100% up to date on everything.
No, that's fair.
I've had a very busy week so far. I haven't had a chance to, whenever you had brought it up, I meant to set aside time to like read about it just so I can obviously be informed to talk about it, but I didn't have that time. So for some of the viewers who don't know what's going on, as well as myself, can you give a brief background about it?
So, excuse my ignorance here, okay, because this might be the worst summary of all time. But basically, four dolphins have died at Gulf World in the last year. 3 of them from sickness. We're guessing from construction that was happening on the new Top Golf area, and then one of them from from hitting its head on a shallow end of the pool during a show in front of families and everything. And so about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, a video surfaced of a show at Gulf World, and the water was just dark and murky and nasty. And come to find out, well, one of their filtration systems is broken, and they're not doing anything about it. They're not locally owned and operated. They're a Mexican-owned corporation, and I believe they also owned an aquarium down in Miami that is recently getting shut down for some of the same stuff, neglect and just animal abuse, essentially. I don't know how you can solve this because obviously you can't release these animals back into the wild because they are human trained, human fed, human reliant. But it's I'm
hungry. I'm sorry.
The eye contact was what did it for me.
I was like, Open away from the mic.
So that's kind of like, if you have anything else that like maybe I missed, but I think that's kind of the gist of the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of hits the bullet points of it, at least. They have the penguins in a freaking storage room. I have seen that too. Somebody said they saw the penguins getting carried off in like cat carriers the other day.
Yep.
My God.
My opinion on the situation is it has to be dealt with politically. And when I say that, like the way it's going right now, it has to continue to get to more eyes and more ears. It has to get to DeSantis. It has to get beyond him, because FWC got declined. They have no jurisdiction on it. They have to get like federal grants and stuff to go investigate. And that's the only way it's going to work, because they're not going to get shut down. Because when tourists come here, they want to see dolphins. And the absolute only way that you are guaranteed to go see a dolphin in Bay County, you can go out on the catamarans or whatever they're called. You can go on the sunset cruises. You can go out to the jetties. You can do all that. You're never guaranteed to see it. They're wild animals. You're in their element. But the only way for tourists from the middle of, there's no local oceans in Atlanta, Georgia, buddy. They have the Georgia Aquarium, but you get where I'm going with this. There's if you live in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, how the hell are you going to see a dolphin? It's just not going to happen. The only way that's guaranteed is for them to go to Gulf World.
You watch them on Sundays.
Trust me, the Dolphins at Gulf World are treated better than the Miami Dolphins.
That's correct. What a crazy take. What an insane take.
Clip that.
Is it wrong?
Yeah, clip that.
Is it wrong? Is it wrong?
Let's get that to PETA.
It's a terrible situation, man. I mean, I don't know if you guys have anything to say about it, but that's kind of just like, that's my real take. Also, I want to say there was this video that went viral on Facebook just a couple of days ago. This lady, and God bless her if she watches this. I mean no harm. I mean I don't mean to insult you or the way you do your life. I don't know you. But this lady goes to Gulf World, who is part of they're having a big protest, I guess, on the 29th, which is this Saturday. And she goes to Gulf World, and she stands up before the show and just starts screaming at the people that are there and at the workers, like talking about what's happening. You're killing dolphins. You're killing animals. Maybe I'm wrong, dude. I just feel like, number one, you had to pay to get in there, right? So while you're causing an issue, you supported their cause. You contributed. You financially gave them money to get into that place. And, dude, these kids don't know what's happening. These kids just want to see dolphins. Don't raise a stick in front of all these kids. Make business cards. Make little pamphlets. Pass them out illegally. Just do stuff like that. You can people will make pamphlets for you in this town within 3 to 4 hours. If you want to do something like that, that's the proper way to do that. If you want to spread awareness, and if you want to spread awareness at the location, that's how I think it should be done.
Well, also, you're protesting to the wrong people.
Right.
Yeah.
Because those people that work there, this company was bought out in like 2015. This is not the original company that owns it. This is a Mexican-owned company. These people that work there, they work there because they care about those animals, just as like you do.
Right.
They know what's going on, but they know that they can't release them to the wild. So they're doing their best to keep those animals safe. And you're getting mad at them for doing their job, doing what they can to keep those animals safe. If their boss tells them to do something, they have to do it.
Right.
Imagine if you worked somewhere and your boss did not give you, just imagine if, let's say something simple, like you worked at McDonald's or something. I worked at Chick-fil-A for years. I had many times where I'd be working the cash register, and someone would come and yell at me because the food was messed up. And it's like, I didn't make the food. Like, I'm just, like those trainers are there helping the animals. If you want to protest the company. Those are the local people that live here that care about those animals as much as anybody else. They're the ones protecting them. you know, it should not go without saying that the people that work at Gulf World, the local people, they're not the problem.
Right.
The problem is the owners outside of the country. That's the problem.
And the sad part for the people who work there, obviously they're seeing it on a daily basis. And like Sam said, they're trying to do what's right by the animals. But it's that catch-22. It's like every day they go to work, they're probably heartbroken seeing everything. And they're like, oh, I'm going to quit. But then they realize, well, if I quit, then who's actually going to take care of this penguin? And they've got names for those animals. So who's going to take care of them? So they can't quit, but they're just going to work over and over, getting heartbroken every single day.
Yeah.
So exactly what Sam said. Don't yell at the workers. Yell at the higher ups.
You don't take a job like that if you don't love animals, right? I mean, you have to have some kind of passion for that. You don't just walk in the Gulf World and hope you get a job, essentially. Now, maybe some people have done that.
Yeah, but you don't do that type of job for the money.
Right, yeah. You're there because you want to be there. You want to work with dolphins. You want to help animals. I mean, there's so much more than just the dolphins there. There's sea lions. Sea lions or seals? They're sea lions.
Speaking of sea lions,
Jesus Christ.
so
Yes, my child.
the previous owners, they paid $30,000 for cataract surgery for those animals. So before 2015, that's how much those owners cared about it. It's the ownership.
So
That's the
is
issue.
that when it changed, 2015?
Yeah, I believe it's 2015 to 2017, somewhere in there. But yeah, I'm just pumped to see people like Jay Trumbull, our state senator, state representative Griff Griffiths. They've seen it and they're doing what they can. I mean, the reason FWC went out there is because a favor to Jay Trumbull, if I'm not mistaken. And so, you know, they are getting involved. And like you said, they got denied, but at least they got the ball rolling.
Right.
The hard part is like, I don't know the way forward because in a perfect world, it would just be like, okay, a good owner knows that their filtration system can't handle what is causing the issue, whether it be another construction site or whatever, and you would just pay the money up front to get it fixed, and then, you know, go after the person that broke your stuff
Right.
in litigation. But it's not that simple. It's just not.
It's a sad and unfortunate situation, but I 100% agree with you on you know, just added to my point right there of the protest thing, man. I don't know what's going to happen this Saturday. I'm not going to promote whatever's happening. I don't know if they're going to block people from getting in there. All I know is, like you said, there are hardworking locals who rely on their job every day. I have a guy that I just worked with. Just in case, I don't want to say his name here on the show, but I just worked with the guy. He's a great guy. His wife works out there a couple days a week. They're good people, man.
However the public decides to protest, I just hope it stays peaceful.
It has to.
That's my biggest concern, because
I don't know what
Without-
I
they
don't
do.
think anybody's
Without
Jan 6 in Golf World.
without being too
January,
political,
January 6th to go golf.
without being too political, I here recently we've had a lot of unpeaceful protests,
Yeah.
and everybody has their right. That's what America was built on. So you have your right to do it however you like or whatever you like. But just try, if you decide to go or you know someone deciding to go, just try to be respectful. Because at the end of the day, the workers, like we've already said, the workers, they're local. They want the same thing as you. Just be respectful to everybody.
Yeah.
Love thy neighbor.
Couldn't agree more. You could try the South Park thing, the Free Willsiak episode, if anybody's ever seen that one. South Park fans will know. It's basically just ripping on Shamu at SeaWorld, and the kids like they save the whale and send him to the moon.
Is that the same episode where they run around on the field like stabbing the Dolphins players?
No, not that. No, that one's funny too, though. That one's a good one. So, all right, guys. So that's pretty much it on the Gulf World thing. I really wanted to talk about that tonight because it's been a hot button issue, and I feel like we should spend more time on local topics like that. It's important. But before we get into our baseball conversation, I want to let you guys know we've already had some of our listeners go over to BassTackleSupply.com, and Dave just recently, my brother-in-law, bought a bunch of stuff from him. Used our promo code Leave It at checkout. He got 10% off of his order. Still haven't talked to him to see what he ordered, but I'm excited, man. I'm excited to have a promotional partner like Bass Tackle Supply. This is our good friend Aaron Rich over there. He's a hell of a guy. Runs a great business. He's a hell of a fisherman too. So go check out BassTackleSupply.com. Use the promo code Leave It at checkout. You'll get 10% off your order. And man, they've got everything from swim baits. They've got top waters. They've got any kind of artificial bait you could want. They've got line. They've got just hooks, whatever you need. BassTackleSupply.com. Promo code Leave It at checkout. All right, fellas. It's baseball season. Are we hyped? Are we ready? I feel like this baseball season carries a whole different level of excitement for me. And I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, right? So probably by the end of April, I'll be ready for football again. But as of right now, I'm looking at the National League Central. Okay. There's some teams with talent, but there's nobody that jumps off the wall to me. So I think the Reds have just as much a shot as everybody else in the division. I look at the Houston Astros. I think the American League West is going to be a little bit tougher this year. I think the Angels did some stuff that might make them one of those sneaky good teams in the American League. I don't know if they'll be good, but I think they're going to be much better, especially if Mike Trout can stay healthy, which has been the question for the last 25 years,
Right.
30 years.
Yeah.
Captain America.
Seattle didn't do much to improve, but they're kind of, you feel like they might hover around. They just gave Cal Raleigh like a nasty deal. So much money for a catcher.
Yeah.
So much. The Rangers, they're a lot of people's pick to win that division this year. Mm-hmm. The Astros, a little bit weird. Jose Altuve, maybe the worst left fielder in baseball history.
I've got a take on that.
Okay, so we'll get there. Cam Smith, Florida State boy, coming straight up, getting traded to Houston.
And he's listed as the starting right fielder.
That's crazy. So if Cam Smith even halfway produces to his potential, have the Astros already won that trade? And I'm asking because they have Cam Smith for the foreseeable future. Kyle Tucker's a Cub for 1 year.
6 years.
Right.
Have him for at least 6 years. And Tucker is only a Cub for at least this year. And then you haven't even said Isaac Paredes, who, if you look at his past, and I sent a video to Kyle about it, his swing and his capability is built for Dakin Park, which it is now, which is going to be weird to call it. It will always be the juice box Minute Maid to me. But his swing is built for a short porch and left.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for what the Astros have because it kind of reset us without resetting us, without having to destruct everything to build back. We just kind of we let Bregman walk, which is going to be weird. There's talks of him playing second base. There's talks of Rafi DHing and letting Bregman play third.
Dude, they would have to probably physically remove Rafi from third.
Exactly. Which is nuts. Which Rafi has a great bat, but I think I think
you could jump in at any point, dude. Drew will talk all. If you're waiting on Drew to stop,
Bregman needs to be. He's the better glove.
Oh, yeah.
Out of him and Rafi.
Oh, yeah.
Bregman needs to be out there.
If he's not at third, it reminds me of when A-Rod came to the Yankees. They should have moved Derek Jeter, and they didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then the underrated signing that the Astros did this past offseason was Brendan Rodgers from Colorado. He's been a solid baseball player in his whole tenure since 2019. So he looks to slide in at second base to take over for Altuve. But that's a whole nother story. But it's one of those where I feel like we've got the capability to compete and at least be a wild card. It just depends on the health of our pitching and health. I mean, the division is wide open because the Mariners haven't really done anything. The Rangers have been good for the past couple of years, but before that, nothing. And then the Angels and the A's.
So let me ask
There you
you.
go. So, Zach said, Alex Cord said today that Bregman will be third base.
That's good, dude.
He's been a good manager right there.
The manager needs to take control. We've
Yeah.
lost that in base. We've lost that in sports in general.
Oh, for sure.
So I guess that's a good opportunity to use that our first topic with tonight was to grade your team's offseason. So with all that said, the Kyle Tucker trade, where would you grade the Houston Astros offseason if you had to give it a letter grade?
C+.
Why so low?
Because it's tough losing two of your pillars, Tucker, and because we very well could have worked it out with Tucker, because you see all the Dodgers and the Yankees, they're throwing out money like it's nobody's business, but the Astros don't have that kind of money, so we have it when we want it, but I feel it's C+, B-, somewhere in that range. It was good. It kind of reset us. I'm not ready to go B+ until I see really what I'll give you a halfway grade at whenever Cam Smith plays in the half season, because that's going to be really the telltale how it all plays out. And I saw something earlier. They were talking about, they were like, this is just a pipe dream at the end of the day, but a fan's pipe dream. But it very well could come true if Tucker does not get a long-term extension with the Cubs. There's talks that he might come back to Houston. So if you can end up with getting Cam Smith, Paredes, and still get Tucker back after a year,
I can almost guarantee you Kyle Tucker's wearing pinstripes in 2026.
I think so.
as long as it's the Padres pinstripes, I'm okay with it.
No, I think it's. I just think they wanted him this year. Of course, the Yankees want everybody to give somebody away for free. They don't ever want to trade any of their good pieces for a good player. They just think the league's going to bow down to him like they do the Dodgers. I mean, the league just bows to the Dodgers. But
Yeah, don't remind me.
the Yankees don't have that power anymore. But
I do want to ask you, Drew, because I can't remember the guy's name. There was a prospect that got called up last year early in the season in May for the Astros. I think he played first base. You know who I'm talking about? Remember his name? I don't know who it was, but he's a young prospect, but he's supposed to be hyped, like number one in their farm system. He came up. I was there in Houston for the game the day he got called up, and this is kind of a
What is that kid's name?
Yeah, look up, see if you can find it. But I just kind of want to segue, like, just real briefly into environments in baseball. Like, when we think about stadium environments, where we really think about football, stadiums and things like that. We don't really think about baseball. But I tell you, the day like that kid got called up, he came up with bases loaded, and I've never heard an MLB park get that loud before. Minute Maid was, well, I guess, Dakin now. They were absolutely rocking. So I'll be curious to see how that kid does this year.
Zach DeZenzo.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's who it is. Yep, exactly. Yeah. So I'll be curious to see how he was, because Houston was pumped for him coming up last year.
He's currently listed as the fifth string first base.
Fifth string first base. There you go.
Yeah.
We got it, baby.
or starter for the Reds right now.
Because we ended up in the offseason going out and getting Christian Walker, but he's on the disabled list right now.
Gotcha.
Or
injured list
injured
now.
list.
Good
Yes,
God.
Yes.
Politically correct on
he
this
is
show,
listed
buddy.
day to day.
And
With an oblique.
string band.
Tyler, you got the brown pinstripes on, my man.
Dude.
You know you're playing for second place, but it's got to kind of suck to go into, like, to be in the division and know that that's the goal. Is that like it? Does it feel like that? Maybe from the outside looking in, it feels like that, but
They got
Does it feel like
dudes,
that
though.
as a fan?
As a fan of the Padres, having to deal with the Dodgers day in and day out, because I was actually just like looking it up, like before the Dodgers got good. Any of these Dodger fans now, I guarantee they can't tell you who the best player on their team was in 2012. I'll give you a hint. His name rhymes with Matt Mimp. So like Matt Kemp, was like their best player in 2012.
Cincinnati Reds great Matt Kemp, dude.
Yeah. So like, and he played for the Dodgers in 2012, and so all that to say, they've always given
Braves
the Padres
legend.
problems.
Braves
and
legend, Matt Kemp.
they've always been an issue out in the West. So I don't see it as playing for second place. I mean, I'm not a dummy, right? And I don't let my fandom blind me. I realistically do expect us to end up. Honestly, I don't even have us in second, to shoot you straight. I have us finishing third behind the D-backs. But, I mean, all it takes is one or two injuries, on the Dodger squad. And next thing you know, what do they got going on for them? They're deep everywhere. Don't get me wrong. But all it takes is a couple of injuries and, you're out of it. So I don't see it as playing for second. We're playing for first. But the Dodgers will choke in the postseason like they always do, except for last year, which was a fluke. So
Well, they had the Avengers last year.
yeah, no doubt.
I like the Padres depth chart though. I like their roster.
It looks good on paper.
That's what
And
I'm saying, man.
left field is kind of interesting to me.
Lost Profar.
Old school Jay Hay,
Yeah,
Jason Hayward,
Yep.
Braves legend.
and then you've got their DH is Gavin Sheets.
Yeah, we picked up sheets and all. I actually
And-
have all that written down.
And oh, sorry.
We use cell phones now, Tyler.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
I'm holding
I've
my
seen
notebook.
everybody's looking at cell phones, and I'm like,
I didn't know.
look at paper.
I didn't know Maldonado signed there.
Yeah,
Interesting that he is defense only.
So we got we got some good pickups in the off season, and you haven't asked me yet, but I assume the question's coming.
But I mean, your top whenever you have a top three pitching rotation of Cease, Michael King, and Darvish, I mean that's not bad.
And we almost dropped the ball on King, dude. We got him like at the stroke of midnight. He we almost lost him to arbitration, but we got him. We got him for another year. And honestly, like I would argue he's the ace of the team. I mean, he's a stud. And I remember when he came over from the Yankees last year, everybody was like, "Oh, Padres got fleeced on that trade," and because that was when he came over as part of the Soto deal. And Michael King came over. Everybody's like, "Oh, Padres got fleeced." Well, Michael King went out and he dominated all season long, and so to almost lose him was tough. But I'm glad we got him back.
Who rounds out the Padres rotation after that?
Pavetta and
Also,
We picked up Pavetta in the off season.
and Randy Vasquez.
you got Pavetta as your 4. I feel like that's probably pretty good.
Yeah, we also got Musgrove too.
Joe Musgrove was the name I was looking for on
Java
there.
Joe. Yep,
Why isn't he in the projected starting 5?
He's on
Did it-
the IL.
Okay, all right. I didn't. I mean, I'd follow Sammy Guevara. I don't know if you know who that is. Carlos Guevara on. He's a Reds fan and a Padres fan, so he kind of
I
goes
got you.
back and forth between the two.
He's on Twitter.
Yeah, he's on. I'll send you his contact
Yeah,
after.
yeah.
Dude, he's cool. He's
Well, we
funny
got-
as hell to follow too,
That's awesome.
because he hates both
Heck.
teams, but he loves them both. Funny as heck, as crud.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think when we get Musgrove back, it'll be good stuff.
So grading the Padres off season.
Honestly, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. I went back all day today between like a D plus and a C plus, just because let me whip out my paper here. So, the biggest loss for me in the offseason was Hassan Kim.
Yeah.
Losing him to the Rays, that hurt.
I wanted him on the Braves.
Yeah, because that kid's a stud. He's young. He's got that experience playing with Machado out there, on the left half of that diamond. So he's got that experience. He's young. He's a good hitter. Hits are power, and he's just an all-around utility guy. We lost Higgy, Kyle Higashioka.
Yeah.
We had him behind the dish, and that was just a veteran leader
Right.
to have on the squad. So losing him, that was kind of tough too. And then of course Profar. or as Will Smith for the Dodgers calls him, Mr. Irrelevant. You could always rely on him in the clutch. He always came through. So those 3 losses, they were terrible, but they could have been a lot worse, especially with the internal struggles going on. Peter Seidler, the owner, passing away last year. The families fighting over who owns the Padres, who's getting the split share. So hats off to A.J. Preller. A.J. Preller is always known for pulling off some kind of crazy move during the season. And he kind of held it together. And then, when you add, hitters like Jose Iglesias, who's a career 280 hitter.
OMG.
You add Yuli Gurriel, who's also a 280 hitter. And then getting Michael King back in that rotation. So I'm giving it a D- to C+ in that range because we lost Ha-Seong Kim and a couple of those other players, but signing King and all that.
You got some harsh grades going on.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it, but we still got Machado, we still have Tatis, and those cornerstone players, Jake Cronin, worthless.
Still have almost automatic in your one hole, right? You still.
I didn't even talk about him. Yeah,
You still have Cronenworth, right?
Dude, I have that written down here. What did I have written down for Arias? I didn't even skip it. Let's see.
The fact he's playing first base is just out of this world.
The ideal leadoff hitter, like literally. I mean, now everybody kind of puts their star in the leadoff hole, but
The hit machine is what I call them.
He is their star.
he's the classic leadoff hitter.
He is their star.
Well, I just mean it's really weird because I thought the Reds would take the same approach, and we'll talk about the Braves before we get to the Reds, but I thought the Reds would do the same thing with Ellie De La Cruz this year. It seems like they're kind of going to this, like Shohei Ohtani leads off for the Dodgers, Acuna leads off for the Braves. I kind of thought the Reds might do that with Ellie this year, but they didn't. He's sitting in the 3-hole, which is...
I think that's a good spot for him, honestly. I mean...
It depends on what you want Ellie to do.
Yeah, that's true.
If you have the mindset of Ellie driving in runs, then the 3-hole is great. But if Ellie's main goal is to get on base and wreak havoc, I just feel like he probably should have been the 1-hole hitter.
Well,
more at bats, more opportunities.
We can get to that. When
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Well, at the end of the day, you're only lead off for the first inning.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look
A lot of analytical guys don't think lineups are as important as they used to be.
Hard to disagree.
So because you're a very analytical guy. So let's talk about the Braves and kind of hear it from straight from the horse's mouth here. I troll a lot when I'm on ESPN. It's just easy because you rip on the local teams, man. But I love the Braves. My second team. I've lived here my whole life. I've been to Turner Field. I've been to Truist Park a lot. I was at Trustmark Park before that whole thing went down.
SunTrust.
SunTrust. That's it. Yeah.
SunTrust.
Yeah. I feel from the outside looking in, I feel like I'm really worried about the rotation, and I feel like I'm really confused that the shortstop situation is still not answered for the third straight season. So I'll give it to you to talk about maybe you can address my concerns and then talk about some of yours or whatever else you got.
Well, last year, the rotation was the best in baseball in terms of ERA, and that was without Spencer Strider for pretty much the entire season. And sure, the Braves lost Max Fried, but they're getting Spencer Strider back. They're projected to have the second best ERA in Major League Baseball again this year. So I don't have an issue with the rotation at all. You've got Chris Sale, who had the Triple Crown in baseball. You have Ronaldo Lopez, who had a 1.99 ERA. He'll regress some. There's no way he's going to have a 1.99 again.
Right, but how much is he going to regress? It'll be like a 2.8, 2.9, right?
Yeah, I mean, even if it drops down to like a 3.5, that's still excellent.
That's still better than league average.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By a lot. You got Spencer Swellenbach, who, if it wasn't for some other guys in the league, may have got Rookie of the Year last year. There was a point in spring training I'll just put in spring training, in 18 innings, 18.2 innings, he had 28 strikeouts and 2 walks. The dude has a 6-pitch mix. He's going to be a Cy Young type guy.
Dealing.
Yeah, and if you look at it,
Spent- yeah.
Schwelly. If we
That man was a shortstop.
if you look at his underlying metrics, it wasn't a fluke. He's legit. We haven't even talked about Spencer Strider yet. Their number 5 guy, which doesn't really matter in most rotations, is a top 100 prospect in AJ Smith-Shawver. So they've got a solid rotation. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. And
Reading the
so
comments, sorry.
so the rotation I don't have a problem with. The shortstop issue, yeah. So the good thing about him is he makes no money, but that
Right.
also means that he'd be a good utility guy, right? Because you're not spending a lot of money. But if you really dig into it, outside of Willie Adames, who else would you have gotten?
Right. And you would have had to trade some prospects away, which the Braves aren't exactly rich on.
Well, I mean, they're okay, but even if you look at the teams that are competitive, you either have teams that are a competitive window with a good shortstop, or teams like the Pirates with O'Neal Cruz and the Reds with Ellie De La Cruz, who absolutely are not trading their shortstop. So there was no real huge upgrade that was worth getting a shortstop. That's not to say I'm disappointed that they didn't upgrade. I think they should have. The issue is that the Braves were about to be in the 3rd tier of the luxury tax for multiple years in a row, which results, this is the first time in history they've ever done that. So that means they start losing draft picks. Well, when you got a team like the Braves, you have to have your draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
So you could not spend the type of money that the Dodgers are spending. It's just not possible. I mean, you got fans that are complaining about the Braves not spending money. The Braves are spending money. Okay, they're a top 5 payroll. They had to cut back payroll just not to lose draft picks. They're spending money. So, yeah, what I like to say, though, is if you can pinpoint one issue on a team, that's a good team.
Yeah.
If you got a
Just
team,
one,
right?
right, yeah.
If you got a team that you're like, oh, we got to worry about the outfield as a whole. We got to worry about the bullpen and the rotation.
Yep.
The Braves have one true weakness, and that's shortstop. Their bullpen, still projected to be a top 5 bullpen in Major League Baseball. It's very top heavy though, but they're one of 5 teams in Major League Baseball to be projected to have a top 10 rotation and a top 10 bullpen, and they have a top 5 in both. So I think they're going to be fine with pitching. They're 2 years removed from having the best offensive output since 2013. I think they're going to be fine.
What do you think about their depth in a postseason run? Because you go through a 162 game season, and like you mentioned, you have a top heavy bullpen. Eventually you start blowing through some arms, and come September, you're in the heat of the thick of a playoff race, and you're playing these close games. Do you think attrition could be a factor as you go further into the year? I mean, obviously it's a factor for every team, but
yes, yeah, that would be number 1 weakness for the Braves. Shortstop, number 2 weakness, bullpen depth.
Bullpen depth, yeah.
Yeah, because once you get down those top 3 names, I mean, they lost A.J. Minter, who is a top, over the past 3 years, the best non-closing reliever in baseball.
Right.
And then which he never got credit for that. And I'm like, I'm a A.J. Minter truther, man. That dude is a freaking stud.
Yeah.
And then, now he's with the freaking Mets. And then Joe Jimenez, who was also solid last year, he's out for the year. So, yeah, they lost 2 setup men. So that's rough. But Aaron Bummer and Pierce Johnson, they're nasty. So, but like you said, yeah, if the Braves start getting some injuries in the bullpen, they're going to be in trouble.
Well, don't worry. You guys just signed Jesse Chavez to a minor league deal for the 40th time.
Yeah, and
You'll be just fine.
And he's only good for the Braves, so we'll be
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
Just give him a lifetime deal. No, because
No.
the cycle has to happen.
No, you want to trade him. You want to trade him at some point during an early portion of the season so you can get some prospects. Then he'll get released when he's bad, and
Right.
then just sign him again.
Right.
Yes.
He's like the baseball edition of the Stockholm syndrome, dude. They clearly they clearly don't actually want him in Atlanta. They just
But he's just good enough.
we're here for the we're here for the trend, buddy.
He loves the battery.
So grading the Braves offseason, there wasn't a lot that really needed to be done.
Right. They really just needed to get healthy, and which is awesome to say, but I mean, I would have graded them a lot poorly if they had not added a bat, because it was very clear, like, when they're healthy, they're elite offensively, but their depth is terrible. But now that they've got Jerkson Profar, who changed up his mechanics last year and absolutely raked for the Padres. And it showed, like, if you look at his underlying StatCast numbers, it wasn't a fluke. He was legitimate. And, you know, then on top of that, the Braves went out and added some guys like Brian De La Cruz on a minor league contract. They just signed Alex Verdugo for $1.5 million. So they've got outfield depth. That's what they've been.
Verdugo will 100% be in the bigs very soon.
Yeah, he signed a major league contract. He just got to ramp up some. I would project that he'll. What I'm interested to see, though, is once Acuna comes back, are the Braves going to run 5 outfielders? Because they've got Jared Kelenic, and Kelnic's got a minor league option, so he can be sent down. But they spent all that money to get Kelenic, and now they have Verdugo. Do they run 5 outfielders? I don't know, but that's a good problem to have.
I feel like Brian DLC is going to crush AAA pitching too. I mean, he's probably just a matter of time until he's up, like, kind of knocking on the door.
Right.
That was the guy from Miami, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but once again, a good problem to have.
Yes.
For the Braves.
I'm also kind of biased towards him because I'm in the Air National Guard and I drill in Jacksonville, so I
cool.
saw him play for the Shrimp a lot. So.
Jumbo shrimp, baby.
Yeah. But if I had to give it a grade, I'd give it. I'll say it was a B plus. They could have done better, but they definitely didn't. They definitely could have done worse.
I just have a quick question real quick. You said when Acuna comes back, I haven't been following the Braves all season. Is he injured or?
Yeah. He tore his ACL for a second
Wasn't at
time.
the end of the season last year?
like right in the middle. It was like about a week. It was after the All-Star break.
That's right. Okay.
It was
Because he tore it like a year before that too.
in the weirdest way, man. In the weirdest way last year
going
too.
after a foul ball or something, right?
The first time. So that was when they won the damn World Series, which is funny because that was like, well, the Braves just locked it down again last year. You lose your best player, and for some reason they just gel all together. But last year he wasn't even caught in a pickle. He just kind of they threw the ball to third base, and he turned around to go back to second, and it just popped on him.
Same leg?
No,
No,
other one.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
which might be worse. I don't know.
I think they've got the best. Wow, they got a name team over here. The Braves: Nacho Alvarez Jr., Chadwick Trump.
Yeah, dude, don't knock on Trump, dude. That's the backup. So he's the backup catcher now, right?
Yeah, and get this, his jersey number is 45.
Should have changed it to 47.
Well, he according to ESPN, that 4-letter word, he's listed as the 3rd catcher. Well, Sean Murphy's on the IL, and then you got Drake Baldwin as listed as number 2.
Yep, Drake Baldwin's number 1 prospect for the Braves. He's going to be starting the season as the starting catcher.
Wow.
Kid's a stud too.
Wow, nice. I heard he rakes, right? He absolutely crushes the ball too. So
Yeah, and Chris Sale likes pitching to him, so that's a good sign.
I know you got to roll soon. I didn't really. Dude, we're already at an hour.
This
That's
is nuts.
insane.
All right, let's run it.
Let's do it. Yeah, let's do it. The Reds, man. Where to start? I don't feel like it was a bad offseason, but I definitely don't think it was good. Just to start off with my letter grade, I would go ahead and say right at a C. I think Jonathan India was kind of a ticking time bomb. I liked Indy. I think he's a serviceable player, but I think he was maybe creating some issues in the locker room. He didn't get along with the brass in Cincinnati, which is very easy to do because they suck. But they traded him, and they got a good return. I think a trade that's going to work out very well for both sides, which doesn't happen in baseball very often, whether people want to admit it or not. It's not like somebody always wins a trade in baseball. But I think this is something that's going to work out very well for both Kansas City and Cincinnati. Cincinnati gets one of the biggest issues they've had is not production in the starting pitching role because they've had guys come up and be really good. They've had really good starting pitching, but it's not been consistent. It's not been healthy. Brady Singer is both of those things. He's not a Cy Young pitcher. He's not going to strike out 10 guys. It's almost never going to happen. But he averages 28 to 30 starts a year.
Yeah, he's solid.
And he's consistent, and that's something that the Reds have needed for a long time. So that move, it was hard seeing a fan favorite go. It always is.
Yeah.
But when you get something that you absolutely had to have in return and you don't have to wait on it to develop in AAA, it's really nice. You get you get a bona fide starter. He's going to be, I think, the day 4 starter for the Reds. One other thing that they have needed, and they have not had for the last 3 or 4 seasons is a good backup catcher. And this year they trade Fernando Cruz. I almost said Ellie, but that's not for 3 more years.
I
That's
really
coming.
wanted him.
It's coming. It's coming.
Not for 3.
They trade Fernando Cruz to the Yankees and get Jose Trevino, who is very below average bat, but maybe one of the best catchers behind the plate in baseball. And when you have a young pitching staff,
Great framer.
dude, his frame rate's insane. He was already going to be the best backup catcher in baseball. Unfortunately, now he's going to be the opening day starter, probably for the foreseeable future because Tyler Stevenson's out with an oblique strain, which we talked about outside. If you're a catcher, it's going to be hard to come back from that one. They have no timetable for a return on Stevenson. Really bummed out about that, but
He might end up playing first base.
that was the original plan for Tyler Stevenson. But I'll get there. What I didn't love about the Reds offseason, since they let Nick Castellanos, I'm stuck in FSU mode. Since they let Nick Castellanos walk in 2021 or after the 2021 season, the biggest need for the Reds has been a power bat in the outfield. There have been plenty of options.
Yeah.
There have been plenty of options, whether it be through trade, whether it be through free agency. There have been guys that have signed for a deal. I know Teoscar Hernandez really just wanted to play back for the Dodgers, but they didn't even make him an offer. I wouldn't have liked to see them trade what the Cubs did for a guy like Kyle Tucker, but Kyle Tucker probably moves the needle for the Reds this year.
Oh, definitely.
100. I don't know how much he's going to move it for a team like the Cubs, but for a team like the Reds who need somebody to drive the guys in that are going to be on base, the Reds don't have that. Now, what do the Reds have? I think they have one of the best 1-2-3s in baseball in the lineup. You got Friedel, McLean, Ellie. I think that's one of the best 1-2-3s in baseball. But there's nobody behind it. They did not address the outfield. They signed Austin Hayes, who's a starting outfielder for the American League team in 2023, the All-Stars, but last year has a terrible season. And that's it. So what's the opening day outfield looking like? Because Austin Hayes just went on the IL.
Gavin Lux.
Spencer Steer was originally supposed to be the starting left fielder, but he's been dealing with a shoulder issue. Now he's going to be able to hit, and you got to have Spencer Steer in the lineup, right? So, because he's 100 RBIs last year. He was clutch. Average wasn't great, but he was driving in runs left and right, so you have to have Steer in the lineup. So what does that mean? That means Jamier Candelario has to play third base, and that means Gavin Lux has to start in left field. If you're somebody who likes defense, which I am, that's not good. That's not good, buddy. Basically, you better hope that the team you're playing has all left-handed hitting, because if they hit the ball to the left side, as much as I love Ellie, he's an error machine himself.
Well, at least you don't have an outfield of Altuve, Cam Smith, and
If
don't hit it to the corners,
Yeah, dude.
please.
It's
Hit it up the middle on the ground.
the bullpen for the Reds, I don't know. There's guys that are it's once again it's this thing that they do every year. If they all reach their potential, could be a very good bullpen. It could be. I mean, Ian Jabot came back on a minor league deal. He's going to make the opening day roster. Very unappreciated. Which, by the way, Buck Farmer in the Braves bullpen.
Yeah, he didn't make the team.
He
but
didn't?
No, but I thought he was. He was doing really well.
Dude, he's so underappreciated. It's
Yeah.
not fair. So maybe the Reds will sign him back. I really like Scott Barlow. They brought in from Cleveland. They brought in Taylor Rogers from San Francisco. I feel like the Reds have a lot of guys that can be good. They don't have a bona fide closer. Graham Ashcraft's moving to the bullpen, which I really like that because he's fiery. Alexis Diaz is out, so the Reds don't have a closer, and they have no answer for who it's going to be. The starting pitching, I think, has potential. There's that word again with the Reds. It's nothing but. I think it could be, by the end of the season, a top 5 to 10 rotation in baseball. But they all have to hit their potential.
Hunter Green, Lodolo, Nick Martinez, and Brady Singer.
Yeah, and then day 5 right now is Carson Spires, but it's going to be Andrew Abbott.
Yeah, he's listed as Andrew. It's listed as Andrew Abbott as 5th, but he's on the 15-day IL.
Yeah, but he'll make like 2 or 3 starts in Louisville. So if I had letter grade for the Reds, C. Yeah, I would say C, right in the middle. I didn't hate anything that they did. I didn't hate any of the. I don't mind bringing a guy like Austin Hayes in if he's a signing, but for him to be the signing,
Right.
Yeah.
it's just not. It's not sexy to me, man. He's a platoon bat. He crushes left-handed pitching, but he's right at league average against right. So what? Like, you didn't do anything to improve. So opening day is going to be Gavin Lux in left field, TJ Friedel, who I love TJ Friedel, in center field, and then right field Jake Fraley. Sucks. That sucks, dude.
Fraley's that dude, though.
I disagree. I firmly disagree. But
Fraley's that dude. Go Tigers.
the LSU guy,
Yeah.
Jake Fraley. Yeah. I mean, dude, when he's good, he's really good. I wish Jake Fraley and Will Benson, 2 guys that are on the Reds that I wish were better than they are, because they're just really good guys and you want to root for them, but they suck. So it is what it is.
This is going to be a very interesting year.
What do you mean?
I'm just looking at the projected Astros lineup, but just in general, this is going to be a very interesting MLB season. There were a lot of names that went different places and are set up to do different things. And it's just going to be different. I can't think of a different way to say it.
I know this is going to be hard for you to answer, and because you're an LSU guy.
Yeah.
But I think back to the Nationals and Steven Strasburg, and that's the last time I can remember the league just, I don't want to use the word over promoting because they absolutely earned it, but just,
Oh, Skeens?
yeah, dude, I worry about Paul Skeens is kind of where I'm like, I feel like the league is putting too much pressure on a kid like him this early.
I don't not for him. I could see for a guy like Ellie, maybe, because he's more of a vibes guy, whereas Paul Skeens, he spent a lot of time in college with at the Air Force.
He was like a 45-year senior.
Yeah, so he spent a lot of time learning tactics, how to stay focused through the Air Force, then went to LSU, took care of business, and had the whole world at his fingertips at LSU. And then he put his head down, went to work in spring, not in spring training, in the minors, and then came and showcased everything in the at the big league level. So I don't think it's too much for him. For any other player, I do think it would be a lot, because there's a lot that MLB's thrown at him. He's already on the cover of the of MLB The Show. So
Which I feel, that's kind of where I'm getting at here. And even for, like you said,
hadn't
with
even
Ellie,
played a whole year. And I'm not trying to talk bad about Ellie.
I
I'm just
agree.
saying-
I've thought about the same thing.
I'm
with
saying
Ellie.
he's more of a. I feel like he's more of a vibes guy. When things are going great, oh, he's fun loving. He's great. He's the guy you want in your clubhouse. But as soon as team starts losing, his batting average goes down. He gets caught stealing a couple times. I think that's where you see a different side of Ellie than what the MLB wants to project as their face of the franchise.
But what I was getting at there, though, is Ellie. Now that Ellie's getting all this, though, he has a year and a half of full service time.
Yes.
Paul Skeens does not even have a year of it.
Yeah. He played half a season.
He played a little more than half because he was an all-star for the Pirates, which was kind of the same deal. Like, he had no business being there, but he was really good for 3 weeks, and the Pirates needed an all-star because they suck.
And at the end of the day, I mean, he plays for the Pirates, so he's gonna go out there and shove as best he can. But he's probably not going to have the numbers. Since he's playing a full season this time around, he's probably not going to have the same numbers that he did in that half season, just purely based off of regression, because the odds of numbers. But you're playing for the Pirates.
I firmly believe in the sophomore slump, too, in MLB. Like, the most recent example of that is Julio Rodriguez for the Mariners. I mean, he came in his rookie year, he was crushing it, and then his second year, he didn't really do as well as he did his rookie year. So I always think there is some sort of a sophomore slump. So I think you may see that, but I don't think it'll be related to the pressure that you're talking about that could be put on by the MLB.
But that's exactly what happened with J-Rod. And that's what I'm getting at with Skeens.
You think so?
It happened to Jazz Chisholm, too.
You think it's just the pressure that caused that? Like, you don't think
I'm just saying, like, I'm not necessarily saying it happened because of the pressure.
Oh, okay.
I just think that it put an unreal expectation
Like
on
an
a guy
added
who has
layer.
not yet really
I think
consistently proved it.
I
That's
think
what I'm getting at.
I got you. I see what you're saying.
I think it's a little easier. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's a little easier to game plan and learn a way to beat a player if they're a defensive player and they come up to bat.
Oh, sure.
It's easier as opposed to game planning to beat a pitcher. I feel like that. So I think you can pitch J-Rod, you can pitch Ellie De La Cruz, you can pitch people in certain instances and certain ways that they're not going to be accustomed to, and it's on them to fix it from there. Everything starts with the pitcher. So it's easier for Paul Skeens to stay at the top of his game. But at the end of the day, you're not going to strike out 27 each game.
Yeah.
You're going to have to rely on your defense, and that's where that's where the regression is going to happen, because he's going to have that Pirates defense behind him. It's not like he's got the Braves defense behind him.
And I don't think
Pirates have a solid defense.
I was going to say, I think
dude,
they were top 5 defensively in baseball last year. Believe it or not,
they're my wild card pick. Spoiler alert.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't. We don't have a ton of time, but do you have any rebuttal to that?
I agree with what he's saying. I think, but I think there's no way he's going to. I'm not going to say there's no way. The odds of him keeping the numbers that he had are virtually impossible. He's got the stuff, but now people have more film on him.
Yeah.
They've studied him more. He's been super hyped, so of course teams are going to be looking at him that much harder. And I'm a believer in the sophomore slump as well. I'm an analytical guy, so I like looking at the numbers rather than going off of superstition. But, I mean, the history kind of shows it with pitchers, because almost any of the hyped pitchers you look at, their second year is not nearly as good as their first. And we don't know how fatigue's going to work with him either.
Yep.
Because he's going to have fatigue on that arm throwing that fast for that long. I will say, though, with Brian Hayes and O'Neal Cruz on the left side of the infield, don't really have to worry about the defense too much.
And they brought Kutch back. Kutch came back.
Yeah, well, yeah, I wouldn't worry. I don't think he's a plus on the defense.
Brian Reynolds,
Brian Reynolds,
the most underrated player in baseball to this day.
Yeah, they just need to keep him out of center field. He needs to play. he needs to play corner outfield. But,
O'Neal Piss Missile Cruz.
But yeah, I think the Pirates will be fine defensively, but I agree. I don't. There's a lot of unknown variables with him. Is all I'm getting at is, I still pick him to win the Cy Young, but I don't think that. I don't think there's going to be fans that are going to be disappointed with his output.
And the main thing that I really think, like, obviously he will probably regress.
I hope he sucks.
But the thing about pitching,
But
dude,
I
if
don't-
you're-
He's in the division, dude. I hope
but
Ellie
I-
hits one off his shin.
one thing about him, and it goes back to his time at the Air Force. He, and even his time at LSU, he seems like a baseball guy. All he wants to do is play baseball. You don't see him out flashy at all the different parties and stuff like that with Livy and doing stuff like that. You're
But
not.
he is. He goes to all that shit with stuff with her. Kid show.
That was
yeah.
that was during the off season. It's baseball time. Since they started spring training, he hasn't been in any photo. I follow both of them on the grams.
I also follow Livy on Instagram.
Yeah.
Unrelated.
He hasn't been. He didn't even go to the SEC tournament, gymnastics tournament, where LSU won. That speaks. I mean, obviously you're not going to leave spring training, but if your girlfriend's as high profile as Livy Dunn, you'd think you'd be in photos and doing all that and go highfalutin places. He just doesn't seem and hasn't been that type of guy, from my perspective.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think the final thing I'll say about pitching is I don't care how good you scout a pitcher, if they're on, you're not going to hit them. I mean, like if you got a pitcher that's up there that can throw 99, 100, 101, but then you drop their changeup down to 89, like coming at you, it's the same plane, it's the same angle, but you're pulling the string at the last second. So no matter what, like unless you're beating on a trash can and you know what's coming, you're not going to hit good pitching if they're on. That's just my opinion.
And he's still throwing triple digits
Right.
in like inning 6.
He's hit, yeah, he's throwing
Seventh
gas, and then
How long can that shoulder take that though? Like
And
he
that,
said.
that's
That's the
point.
biggest. That's the
I
biggest.
once again go back to
That's the biggest
old
question.
Strasburg because he was doing it too.
That
he
man-
reminds me a lot of Steven Strasburg. Is the way it is all I'm saying.
That was the whole point of your
That
argument.
was the whole point of it.
yeah.
Like he just reminds me, like everything that they're doing with him, everything that they've said, the way he pitches, the way he delivers,
Well,
he just reminds me of Steven Strasburg so much.
Strasburg sold his soul and his body to win that 19 championship. He sold everything because I think he
Worked.
pitched for a month after that, 2 months the next season, and then he was done.
Done. Sad.
He got paid though.
You got
Oh,
paid
yeah,
and you
Get
got a
paid. It
ring.
was just the ultimate goal.
And you got a ring.
And the Nationals were ready to give it to him because they were like, "Hey, you were the workhorse.
Took us to the promised land.
You were the reason we were
Won
here."
the Washington Nationals
him and
after Bryce Harper left.
San Wodo.
him and old fella who doesn't like baseball no more.
Yeah, Anthony Rendon.
Anthony Rendon, that's his name.
Yeah.
Do people forget how good Rendon really was for a while?
Yeah, he was good for a postseason.
Did you hear the?
That's fair. That's fair.
I'm sure you've all heard this stat, but it's just hilarious. Ted Williams played more baseball in the time frame that he went off to one of the world wars, in the same amount of time that Rendon has been signed with the Angels.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Let's pick some division winners so we can get Sam out of here. Let's roll. We'll kind of roll through them relatively quick. I don't know if we even need to talk about the National League West. I mean,
That's crazy.
we'll start with Drew and we'll work this way.
I'm gonna take Padres. I like their roster, and something's gotta happen with the Dodgers. I can't pick them.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right. What you got over there? You just gonna go ahead and pick the?
Oh, you're talking about so we're just going by
Yeah. We'll go Drew, you, then Sam. then me.
per division.
Yeah.
I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
yeah.
No, I'm gonna vomit when I say this, but I got the I got the Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Yeah, the Doyers. Right. Yeah, exactly.
Dodgers.
The Los Angeles
What you got?
Dodgers.
Oh, that's That's bold, AG. Shout out AG in the comments, by the
Yeah.
way.
AG.
Don't think Schemes will do that.
I don't think so, dude. Preller's not going to let that happen. If anything, they'll be buyers, especially if we're in the thick of it.
Yeah. I I try to do things analytically, mathematically, try to keep bias out of it. So I have to pick the Dodgers. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
I mean, it'd be silly to pick anybody else. But yeah, I'm right there with you. I think they'll have
Thanks,
the most
Drew.
wins in baseball this year.
Just call me the silly goose over
No
here.
worries. I guess we'll snake it back. We'll go to the National League East. I'm actually going to break your heart here. I think I'm going to pick the Phillies to win the division. I think they have a really good lineup, decent starting pitching rotation. Same question mark that it's been the last few seasons for them, the bullpen, but somehow, dude, they just pull it together. They start terrible, but they end up just, I don't know, man. I don't know what it is about their bullpen. Now, the Hawk, Jeff Hoffman's gone, so we'll see. But I as of right now, I have the Phillies winning the division.
Key with the Phillies is all their stars are getting old. So
Which is fair,
they're
yeah.
going to have to, if they stay healthy, they got a good shot. I still think the Braves win it by maybe 2 or 3 games over the Phillies. And the Mets are going to be sad that they spent all that money on Juan Soto to get a wild card spot.
Nice. Yeah, no, I got the Phillies also.
Mets.
Great, dude. Parlay these, man. Wait, kid show, don't do that.
Dyer.
With these picks, you'll be able to bet like $10 and get 10 grand.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Hey, I'm here for the comedic relief.
Who'd you pick? The
Mets.
Mets?
OMG, let's go, Mets.
We'll get there.
But he's gone.
All right, National League Central. What you got over there, Drew?
Cubs.
Yeah, I got the
It's
Cubbies.
back to you.
I got the
Sorry,
Cubbies
sorry.
also.
I'm not actually writing anybody else's picks down except for mine.
Oh, appreciate it.
That's crazy. Oh,
Appreciate it.
Finish writing.
Bring your own dang notebook, dude.
My notebook's over there. Sorry, I
I'm
walked
going
it.
to, I know you don't want to hear this, but I think Cubs are the biggest slam dunk of any of the divisions picks for me.
Really?
Yeah. It's Cubs and everybody else in that division.
Okay. I also think the Cubs win the division as of right now. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I had to pick him because of Tucker.
for the same reason, dude. It's as far as sure thing lineups go. There's not one, but I think the Cubs have the best chance to be. They've got proven guys that have done it before all over up and down their lineup. So.
I think they are the most loaded in that division, for sure.
Shout out to news.sportsinteraction.com.
Oh Jesus.
I just so I don't go mind blank, I've got just the league pulled up into divisions, and I'm scrolling through American League West. They just have a blank shield, and it just says athletics. So shout out news.sportsinteraction.com.
Dude, on that website, you're going to be the 10,000 viewer and win an iPad. Just click the link.
I'm here for it.
Grow it by how much? All right. Anyway. All right, just hit me with all 3 of your wild card teams. Actually, I guess that would technically be me.
Are we doing the AL or no?
We'll start with the National League, and then we're gonna go back to the AL. And we'll wrap it up with those guys.
I got you.
I not in any specific order, but I think we're the 3 wild card teams. I wrote it down, and I'm like, oh, that's funny. I think the Braves will take the first wild card spot. I think the Padres would take the second, and I do think the Reds will end up making the playoffs this year. I told Sam outside. The Reds are either going to win 88 to 90 games or 70 to 75. Hey, I literally have no idea right now what the Reds are looking at. If I had to make a real unbiased prediction for their record right now, I would say 79 and 83. But for the sake of this, I'm going to say that some guys overperform a little bit. I still think Matt McClain's an absolute dog. I'm banking on CES finding his power. So I'm gonna say the Reds will end up taking that 7th seed. Now it's crazy to say that the Diamondbacks are gonna miss the playoffs, but I think the National League is just so good, but that it's very possible.
And in that Reds division, you have a better chance at beating divisional opponents than
The Reds could win the division. The Reds could finish last in the division. I wouldn't be surprised at anything in the National League Central. To be
Honestly,
honest.
yeah, that one's
It's
a toss-up.
yeah. What you got?
I'm going to go with wild card 1 being the Phillies, and then Diamondbacks and Padres. I think we'll get 2 out of the West.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
Diamondbacks had a sneaky good offseason. Their rotation's gonna be ridiculous if they stay healthy.
If they stay healthy.
Yeah, honestly, I think the battle. Well, you're asking for wild card picks. We gotta get them out of here. I have Braves, I have the Pirates, and I have the D-backs. Those are my wild card.
So you have the
picks.
Pods missing it, huh?
I do have the Pods missing it. I think there's going to be teams in other divisions that are just going to be a little bit better to take those spots. So again, Braves are going to finish behind the Phillies. You're going to have the Pirates behind the Cubs, in my opinion, and then of course the D-backs. But I think the Padres and the D-backs will be neck and neck. 1 or 2 games can really flip that.
Yeah.
Braves, Doyers, Diamondbacks.
You got the Braves taking the wild card spot over, or is that in any order? That's okay. Those are just your 3 teams. Okay,
Just 3 teams.
it's like be crazy for 112. Braves have to win like 114 games. All right, so let's go to the American League. We'll start with you, Drew. Start with your division, the American League West.
Got to pick the Astros.
Fair enough. I mean, still good pitching, right? What you got?
Yeah, I went back and forth on this one all day. I'm going to go with the Rangers on this one.
Ooh, this man.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Rangers in the West.
I got the Rangers as well. They've got a solid lineup and pitching up and down. If DeGrom comes back healthy, that's a no-brainer for me.
I think I've got the Rangers kind of running away with this thing. I would say by about 5 games, the Rangers will win the division. Unless the Astros just have an explosion of offense this year, but I just don't know if that's going to happen, Drew.
That's what it's going to end up being, because if you've got an outfield consisting of Altuve and Cam Smith, it's got to be with the bat. That's the only way they stay in the lineup like that.
All right, going to go to the American League East. I'm gonna pick Baltimore. I think it has more to do. The Yankees just have too much to overcome right now. Now, obviously, lineup's still stacked. They're going to score some runs, but man, just absolutely no pitching. So I'll take I'm going to take Baltimore to win the division. Uncle Charlie going to come through, dude.
Well, I would argue that the Yankees have more pitching than the Orioles do. So that's why I would go with the Yankees, because don't discount Max Fried, man. He's a top 5 Cy Young guy every year. I mean, they lost Garrett Cole, but the Yankees have the resources to add stuff at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
I mean, the Orioles do too, but I mean, the Orioles lost their best pitcher without really gaining anyone. You could argue the Yankees did too with Garrett Cole getting hurt, but I think the Yankees have the slight edge here. This was the toughest one for me.
Carlos Rodon's going to start opening day for them, right? So it'll be Rodon, then Fried.
Right.
They'll get Luis. Is it Luis Gill or?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll get him back.
Is Stroman still there?
No.
No, Stroman went to the Angels?
Athletics.
The A's, that's right. Or lack thereof.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sacramento.
Yeah, Sacramento. What you got, Tyler?
I have the Blue Jays.
Really?
Yeah, I have the Blue Jays taking it. This is the last dance, so to speak. You got Vladdy Jr. and Bo Bichette that are going to go free agency at the end of the year, and you have basically the president and the chairman of the Blue Jays. Like, his contract is about to expire as well. And
Also
so
paid their catcher, Alejandro Kirk.
Everything that they've built and worked for this last half a decade, I think it has to pay off this year, and they're going to go all in on that.
They did add Max Scherzer.
Yeah, so
You get a half season out of him.
yeah, so that's why I got the Blue Jays.
Shout out Mike Ahead. Give me Boston. Give me some clam chowder.
Something's jumping off the paper about Boston to me this year.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
It's
Garrett Crochet.
and it's
Garrett
more
Crochet.
than
maybe that's it.
It's for me. It's more than just Bregman going there. But you look at the team that's around him. It's homegrown talent at this point. A lot of it, and I like I like that outfield. Jarren Duran's a stud. So Boston.
All right, let's go to the American League Central.
Give me the Detroit Tigres.
El Tigres. All right, what you got over there?
Honestly, I wrote the Royals down because I like what they're building around Bobby Witt, and I argue he's one of the best players in the league, Bobby Witt Jr. But honestly, we talked about the Dodgers, or not the Dodgers, but the Tigers a lot today on the show. So honestly, I'm probably going to change my pick, and I'm going to end up going with the Tigers on this one.
I want to say the Orioles, but there's the Tigers, man. There's just something about them. They've been building this thing. They've got a bunch of young talent, a bunch of guys that haven't reached their potential yet, and this could be their year. I don't think they'll win the World Series, but I think, and they showed at the end of the season last year that they came to play.
Yeah.
And I think, and they're young, so they're probably going to stay healthy. I'm going to go with the Tigers.
I'm actually going to take the Royals. I think those reasons, everything you just named for the Tigers, are the reasons I'm also a little skeptical on them, right? Because it's not that these guys are all going into their second year in the league, but it's almost like that sophomore slump as a team. You get what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Like they're all young, they're all
right.
together. So I think I'm a little bit hesitant on them. Like other than Tariq Skubal. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
That dude's
Yeah.
he's a lightning rod.
Real quick before we go to the East, or the wild card picks, Adam Goff brought up a good point. You can't sleep on the Guardians because they kind of came out of nowhere last year too, and they have a good squad up there in Cleveland for sure. So yeah, no, good point, Adam. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they came through and they took it.
They just give Tanner. How do you say his last name? Is it Bibby? They just gave him a good deal. They just extended him. I think they'll get Shane Bieber back about a little less than halfway through the season. I mean, I like Cleveland. I mean, I don't want to see them win anything, but it would be nice for the Reds to do it and them have to watch.
Bibby,
with
says
Tito. All right, I'm gonna 3 wild card teams in the American League. I'm gonna go Yankees, Red Sox, Astros. I once again I was back and forth between the Astros and the Tigers, but I think just we've been there before experience of the Astros will be maybe the difference maker there.
I'm going to go wild card 1 Orioles, wild card 2 Royals, and wild card 3 Astros.
Okay. Yeah.
Doesn't seem believable that Houston would miss the playoffs, you know?
Right.
Obviously, you're a fan, but just outsider perspective, it just doesn't seem – it's a very real possibility, but until it happens, it's just
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Can't discount the Astros.
Right.
I think that third spot's going to be really close. I'm going to go with the Orioles. I'm going to go Red Sox, and I'm also going to take the Astros. I think only one team from the Central gets in.
Orioles, Royals, Guardians.
You got 3 American League Central, a division that 2 years ago everybody was laughing at.
Right.
And and I'm not laughing at your prediction there.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's very because it happened last year, right? I mean,
Right.
It shows how far they've come.
it's crazy. Now they still have the
RIP
laughing
White
stock of
Sox.
Major League Baseball. You're going to Chicago, and I literally told you to make sure you ice your shoulders every night while you're there because you may have to get Tommy John surgery just for stepping foot in that city.
Well, we're gonna go watch the Cubs Guardians on Thursday night, and then on Monday we're driving up to Milwaukee to go watch the Brewers and the Dodgers. Doyers.
Nice.
It was either that or stay in Chicago to watch the White Sox and Blue Jays. And I was like, no, let's go watch the Doyers.
We had an opportunity to go watch the White Sox play in 2019, and they were kind of decent that year. The White Sox actually had a pretty decent team. They still had Tim Anderson, used to be good. But the guy at Portillo's told us, it's a night game. You guys are white. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
You're not from here. It's a night game. That's literally what the guy at
That's
Portillo's
crazy.
said. He was funny, man. He was good, but I took him seriously. We ended up just going in I think we went. Did we go watch the Bulls? I don't know. I don't remember if that was the night we watched the Bulls or if we went to Top Golf. Either way, it was a
That's
fun
just
night.
the moral of that story. It's great to live in a big city where you have options for sports teams.
Here it's like, who do I want to watch on TV tonight? Guys, this has just been an absolute blast. I love talking baseball. I'm glad we had some fans stick around. Glad AG came there at the end. I love the opportunity to get to talk baseball. It's not something you get to do too often. Usually you have to try to, if you're on a sports show, you got to try to balance it. And just love a good opportunity to talk baseball. So, Tyler, Sam, it was a pleasure having both of you guys here.
Yes.
I would love to have you guys back sometime. Maybe for the All-Star break, we can kind of revisit our picks and kind of see where we're sitting at that point and talk about, when who Elliot De La Cruz is going to get traded to in the next 2 years. But to everybody that's been watching, thank you guys so much for being here. We'll be back next week. Drew and I are going to do a little brainstorm episode next Wednesday. So make sure you guys are here because those brainstorm episodes I think are a lot of fun. We come up with some really weird and good ideas for our shows. And then the week after that, we'll be off. So see you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for watching. And have a good one. Peace.